Hi, I hope all of you are doing awesome today. We're going to do a ghost story. And this ghost story about a village. So Rahul was a village postmaster and he got this new job, and it was a very a small village, and his wife Remy. So Rahul and Remy was very excited to go to the village and start their new life, and they've been married only for just about a year. So this was a government job. So in villages usually postmaster gets a little wood cabin, log cabin, or usually a small house which is provided by the government for the postmaster to stay. And usually post office in the front of the building, and the back of the building is the home they get to stay. And there's usually a one room or two rooms, something small. So Rahul and Remy packed up their two little boxes, all their belongings, and then they went to the village. And the house was a little old log cabin, and it was really nice and cozy. And outside was really nice too. It was a small village, so they were happy. And it's been only a week that they started unpacking. They didn't have that much because they were starting off their family. So whatever they have, they packed up in just two boxes. So Remy was too busy putting away her things, and Rahul was busy getting to know the area and his new work, and they were liking it really. But there was one thing strange. Like in their 1 year marriage, they used to be very close. Just they were married recently, so they still had that newly wedded husband and wife feeling. But then there was something changed, a little bit odd, a little bit different about Remy noticed that she wasn't able to stand Rahul or whatever he said. She felt very cranky and angry with Rahul for no reason, for no specific reason. She would just get mad, didn't want to listen to his voice. And Rahul also felt like he didn't like being around Remy all of a sudden. And this is a sort of like feeling which is coming from the mind, like a mind control feeling, but they felt like it, and they also noticed the change. Anyway, so Rahul was busy at his work, and around 5 o'clock his work finished, and his work started 9 a.m. So the work was 9 to 5. Usually 8 o'clock they will get ready for the office. So you could say 8 to 5. And most people, village people, would show up around 9 o'clock. But this is a very small village. Everybody knew everybody, and they were getting to know the new postmaster. So Remy being home, she would cook and clean, but somehow she felt like Rahul just works and come home and eat and sleep, or maybe read the newspaper or the book. And they didn't have TV because they just moved, and they didn't have that kind of money to buy a TV, so they would just listen to radio or read newspaper, whatever was cheaper. And Rahul, after work, he felt in his mind that he didn't want to go home because he felt like Remy would just nag again. So I would just stay here. It's just sort of feeling coming in his head and sort of ideas. So this was going on for a couple of weeks. And then one day, Rahul was getting ready to go back to home from his work. As I mentioned, the work and home in the same building. The front of the building is the work, the back of the building is the home. So 5 o'clock, everything closed. Whatever, a few people just showed up at the post office for whatever reason. So after that, he was getting ready to go to home, and then he saw that as he was gonna get up from the chair, somebody was just sitting on his lap. And he was very surprised because this was like so beautiful woman. She was so pretty, beautiful, long, black, luscious hair, and very beautiful looking. And she was sitting on Rahul's lap as if she didn't want Rahul to get up from the chair. And he was just so stunned by her beauty, and he forgot that he wanted to get up and go home. And he keeps staring at her, and she keeps smiling, and the time just slept, time just went away. And when he actually woke up, it was like 8 o'clock. And then he rushed to home, and Remy was so angry. What are you doing there? Why are you sitting there? And then he didn't say anything because he didn't want to make her more angry. And then so in home, as Remy was working in the daytime, then she would see like someone is saying some things in her ear, like, oh, Rahul comes home so late, he doesn't do anything, and you do everything, he's always outside, and maybe he went to take a stroll in the riverside after the work but did not take you. And this would irritate her, make her very angry. But she didn't know why these thoughts are coming, or someone is feeling these thoughts into her ears. So they didn't know. One day, as usual, as Rahul was going to come, but the same thing happened, so he forgot the track of the time, and it was even 9 o'clock. So Remy got very angry. She actually made some special food for Rahul, so she took it in a tiffin box, and the tiffin box usually made out of stainless steel. And then she put it the sweets, and she went to the office, which is just the front of the building. It wasn't far away. So she went there, and as she went there, and the door was open because Rahul was getting ready to go home. So she opened the door, and she saw this most beautiful woman sitting in his lap, and he's just staring at her, and so mesmerized by her beauty, and just staring at her. And she's not doing anything, she's just sitting there and smiling, and he keeps staring, and she was so beautiful. And then to this, Remy got extremely angry. She yells out, and the woman got up and she threw that plastic container to just in the direction of the woman, and this container went and hit her eye. And then Remy saw that her eyes started bleeding, blood was coming down, and Remy was still screaming that this is what you do every day, sit here for 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and don't come home, don't come to eat food. This is why you're always ignoring me and fighting with me. So she went crazy, and this blood was coming down, and then she saw the woman just vanished in thin air. So then they came home, and after that, Rahul didn't know what to say. He was very sorry, but at the same time, he didn't know what was happening to him, and he was feeling very weak and sick. So then when he went to work, then Remy would check on him quite often. And then again after work around 5 o'clock, that woman came, but her eyes were still bleeding and the blood was coming down. This Rahul was very scared, and then Remy just came, and she yelled at the woman, asked her to get out and not to come. And then next time when Rahul went to work, right after 5 o'clock, she will go and close the door, and then they will finish up inside. So even though when the door was closed, nobody can come in, that woman just pop up out of nowhere, and her eyes are still bleeding fresh blood. And at this, Rahul and Rima was very scared, and she took Rahul's hand, and they come out of the place running. And then next day, they put a complaint to the head office for the post office that they don't want to stay there anymore. Such incident was happening, and they didn't know what it is. So then they said they would like to be transferred somewhere else, and then but the news came from the post office that it will take a week for new postmaster to come, so the Rahul has to stay in the job for a week until they can arrange somebody. It might be 3-4 days or might be 5 days, they don't know, to take his place. So they had no choice but to stay. So while they stayed the 5 days, in these 5 days, Rahul became very sick and weak, as the woman could not come and sit on his lap or smile at him, or he would lose track of the time, because right after 5 o'clock, Remy would be there and she would be waiting for her and make sure that she didn't come. So, but they did see her roaming around with her bloody eyes. But Rahul kept getting sick and very weak, and this point, by the end of the 5 days, when another person came to take in charge and relieve him from that job, from that location, he was so weak that he could hardly walk. He was walking with the cane. So then they left that place and they went back their home, and then Rahul started his own business after he got back some strength. But this was a real story. So just that the moral or the truth about the story is the ghost and demons, they suck people's energy, and that's how they live. So after Rahul denied to stay in the office and gave willingly his energy, then she started sucking his energy more, and he started getting weaker and sicker. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you with many more stories. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.